Oh boy, it's that time of the year, baby. I'm loving it.
Time of the year is better than that time of the month. We'll take it any day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the two Dum Yinzers. This is episode 255, 255, 255. What's up, Mike?
What up, homie? What
Oh,
up,
you
everyone? I am just living the dream today. I'm feeling the flow, feeling the flow.
got a lot of good things going on today. We got some
Yes.
pit news. We got Penguin talk. The combine, the NFL combine, of course, is underway in a sense. I won't even want to talk some pirates today, Mike. Some pirates. So
Some pirates.
some
Look.
pirates.
Oh man. Do we have to talk some pirates?
Of course we don't, but we're going to today. It's back. It's back. I know how you love to talk about them last season, so I'm bringing it back
Oh yeah.
by popular demand. First couple of things I do want to talk about, Mike. This movie that just come out, Cocaine Bear.
Yes, Cocaine
Cocaine
Bear.
Bear. Cocaine Bear, Mike, made $23.1 million in its opening weekend.
That is what I'm talking about.
And I
Like,
haven't heard anybody say that it's super goofy or super you know what I mean? I mean, it seems like
yeah,
it could be something that
yeah.
you could enjoy.
It came out with what a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes, a 100%. Cocaine Bear, the only way to make it is as a comedy, in which
Yeah.
is that's what they did, and that's what you have to do. It's based off a true story of this bear that ate a ton of coke, and it was like almost what like a quarter of its body weight when it died was was cocaine.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was like what a split maybe handful of minutes where it was like the most apex of apex predators on the planet. It was so coked out of his mind, ready to go. And then they adapted into a movie, and the previews look hysterical. It's like diving into a what an ambulance is driving away. It's like, "Argh." Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to go see this. I don't have the time, so I'll probably have to wait till it comes out on like streaming on demand to watch movies at home. So that's what I'm gonna do. Cocaine Bear. It
I've certainly
it
heard
looks
about it
great.
a lot more than I've seen about it. I
Oh
may have
yeah.
seen one commercial and I really wasn't paying attention to the commercial.
Uh
However, a lot of people are talking about it and just maybe I might check this out.
oh, you're definitely gonna have to check out Cocaine Bear. I will make you watch Cocaine Bear if I have to.
Cocaine Bear. There you have it, everybody. Cocaine Bear. A couple other things I do want to talk about before we get started today, Mike. The Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
It's no joke that Mike Tyson is into the cannabis industry. He's creating
Mm-hmm.
his own edibles, this and that. I don't know if people know this. Mike Tyson, Mike, is smoking $40,000 worth of weed a month.
I'm loving it. That's what I'm talking about.
$40,000 worth of weed a month. I thought this guy was broke.
No, no, no. He has revenue streams, man. He's got money back. I don't think he's in bankruptcy. He has money now.
So yeah, they're $40,000 a month. That's a lot of weed.
That's a lot of weed, and it better be some good weed.
He must be out of his mind. You know what I mean?
Oh, better be out of his mind. Well, I don't know. That kind of weed, you figure he's smoking that much, paying that amount, it's gotta be the good weed.
Yeah, yeah. Mike Tyson ain't getting he's not
He,
getting
he ain't getting the weed I'm getting.
he's not getting
That's
Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown.
A couple other quick things. Mike, the screen used General Lee. Do you remember this car from the Dukes of Hazzard when we were growing
Yes,
up?
yes, I do. Sliding over CrossFit, baby.
Yes. Well, it wasn't as lucky just recently. The screen used version of the General Lee, Mike, got into a car accident.
What?
Yes, it's one of these cars that people take to the car shows. You don't really drive them; they're just,
Yeah.
they're more for show. Well, apparently, the police said that somebody was driving too fast. The person that owns this car for the road conditions, they lost control and wrecked the General Lee, Mike.
You know
Tell,
what?
that wouldn't make you know what I mean?
That would
Like
piss me off.
anything like that. Why? You're driving it around out in the elements anyway. I mean, it's the General Lee. Don't you got a Honda or something you could, kick the
Yeah,
shit out?
yeah, that's something you don't take the General Lee out for a cruise.
And
You don't go
especially
out
drive it the way
driving.
that Bo and Luke did. I mean, what's this guy doing?
It,
This is a national treasure.
It is a national treasure, and that's why I preferred the General Grant car, because that thing does not that thing doesn't wreck. Or the General Sherman, although that one might catch on fire. But no, yeah, this is a piece of Americana history that you just went out and destroyed because you're an idiot.
I can't fathom why. And like I said, if you're going to take it out in these, in these elements, why not be careful? The police said that they were driving reckless for, too fast for the road conditions, and I
Mhm.
don't know. Do that in the summer. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
That just seems insane to me.
like when I like around here, we see people like when it starts to snow or rain, they're still driving the way they normally drive.
Yeah.
Like, don't you realize that's when the accidents happen when it's rainy or snowy? Don't drive like an idiot, especially in the General Lee. You're not the Duke boys. Only the Duke boys know how to handle that thing in the weather.
Only the
And
Duke.
that's a Southern car, and it's not used to the elements.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. I've seen this car. I've seen it at a local car cruise. Like, it's badass. As a matter of fact, the one that I saw, I don't know if it'd be the same one, but the one that I saw actually has the autographs of the original actors
No
that
way.
were in the show on the car. It's really sweet, man. I hope
That's
that's not the
awesome.
one, but well, ay, what an
Better
idiot.
not be. Better not be. I hate people.
Finally, my last note before we get started. Have you ever seen those commercials with the TV dad? And it's that guy from the dad from Family Matters. Remember the show
Oh,
Urkel?
Carl Weathers, right?
Carl, was that what Carl? Yeah, Carl something.
Yeah.
But he's on these commercials now, and I
No, not
crack up every
Carl.
time. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I thought he was dead. And don't even say you're thinking of
No,
Uncle Phil
no,
from what Fresh Prince, because I'm not.
no.
Carl, yeah, this is the
I
guy.
gotta look at it because Carl Weathers is the dude from Rocky.
Yeah, it's definitely not Weathers. I think it has a W as well.
Oh,
But my thing, I mean, they're really funny commercials, and they're just so cheesy, and it's a good commercial. I got to say that I like them. But like I said, I thought he was dead. I thought he passed away. I was almost certain, Mike, that he had passed away, but apparently not. I guess, right?
Sergeant Al Powell, played by Reginald Vell Johnson. Why was I thinking his name was Carl? Maybe that was like a character's name in one of the shows.
I could have swore it was Carl too.
I just
What was the last name of the character? Not the
uh
actor.
Al Powell.
Their last name was an Al Powell.
His name is Sergeant Al Powell. You'd always call him Al or Pal. Yeah. And yeah, it's why was I thinking his name was
Because the butterfly effect. That's why.
maybe? I just wanted to call him Carl.
I did too. Who's Carl? There's definitely a Carl. There's a Carl out there, and I'm almost certain they called him Carl. I can picture his wife's mouth muttering the words Carl when I think about it.
I can't remember.
Winslow, Carl
Carl
Winslow,
Winslow.
Carl
Yes.
Winslow. That was the
Yes.
the
That's where I was getting,
character's name.
Carl Wither. Yeah.
That's who
Yeah.
it is. I
That's
don't
why I
know
was
who
thinking
Allah
the
Abdul or whoever you said was, but I know
Al
that
Powell.
Carl Winslow was the character's name. I'd be willing to put money on it. Laura Winslow.
Right, exactly. Carl
Yeah.
from Walking Dead. But yeah, like
And
why was I think
Waldo. Remember the friend of the son was Waldo.
yeah, oh my god. I can't believe I forgot his name.
I can't believe I thought he was been dead for 25
No, I
years.
knew he was alive. I just thought his name was Carl. I thought the actor and the character had the same name. I thought he was like, because that happens in some shows and stuff. Like the
Right.
character's name is, yeah. Oh,
So there you
Mandalorian's
have it,
back.
everybody.
How
Cocaine
about that? I
Bear does
forgot.
big at the movies. It's opening weekend. Mike Tyson smokes a year's worth of income in
Mhm.
cannabis a month. General Lee, the iconic car from the Dukes of Hazzard,
Yes.
has been wrecked, and Carl Winslow is alive. So there you have it, everybody. Who's ready for some sports?
I am ready for some sports.
Sports. Here we go. Mike, I'm jumping right into football today because we got the festivities for the combine starting today.
Yes.
We not too much happening today. I think more as the week goes on, you're going to start seeing your players and all the young gentlemen out there putting on their best skills and showing the best skills to the scouts and the NFL coaches in hopes of becoming the next
Yeah.
big stars in the NFL. Omar Khan had talked this morning. He gave a speech at Podium 2, And Mike, this is this is the first quarter basically for your season,
Yeah.
because you really enjoy the off season work, you enjoy the
Hmm.
combine, the draft, the spring train, or the camp, and then ultimately the season. So first quarter, Mike, we got the combine. It's going to be going on for a week.
Yeah.
I did have it here on the studio for a little bit, but it wasn't producing too much information for me, so I switched it back to my ESPN channels. Mike, give me a little summary, give me a little rundown about this combine for people that just generally don't pay much attention to it.
All right. So it's the NFL scouting combine. It's where some of the top players from college, they're invited to come in to work out. These are players that are expected to be drafted, or even if you're not drafted, be a preferred undrafted free agent signing from a team. So you have the best of the best that are going to show up, and they're going to work out. Everyone knows, boom, the 40-yard dash, the bench press, quarterbacks are going to throw, but there's all the other drills in there that test the agility, strength. Then they have each player gets 15-minute interview with every team. It's where you go to work out and just show the scouts what you have in these workout conditions, and to see it's like the whole interview process too. How this is the first time they really get to talk to these guys if they didn't weren't at the Senior Bowl or any of the other bowls. It's like a major job interview is what it is, but it's just athletics built around it. And this is where a lot of GMs too, all the GMs are there, all the head coaches are there. It's a chance to network, start talking about, hey, who might be available in trade, but who would you like from us, and stuff like that. You're able to network. So it's not just for the players, it's also for the scouts, coaches, GMs to see these guys firsthand, and for the GMs and coaches to talk to each other about maybe potential trades, stuff like that. Start laying the groundwork because we have free agency coming up and then the draft. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and like Derpy said, this is where you can either rise up the draft boards or fall. We've seen people like Mike Mamula back in the day was a workout warrior. Like no one really knew this guy. They knew him, but they saw his workout and he just shot up the draft boards, become one of the biggest busts. Or you can have a bad workout. Next, you're a top 10 pick and you're not getting drafted till second, third round, all based off of this. So this where it can either trump what your game film is, or it can crush what your game film says. So you can have amazing game film out there, put up amazing numbers, but they see, oh, you're a bit shorter than we thought. Looking at you, Bryce Young, you're running a little slower than we thought. No, you didn't bench press as much as we thought. So guess what? You're going to drop down the boards. Or if you have okay footage, but you put up these amazing numbers in shorts and t-shirts, next thing you know, you've gone from a second, third round pick to a top 10 pick. And this is where, it's good information out there, but good scouts, good general managers, good coaches know that this is only a small piece of the puzzle. It's not the huge deciding factor. It has to take into account your game film, your level of competition. This stuff right here, it's good to see, but there's a difference between game speed and track speed. So if
Yeah.
you have track speed, don't have game speed, that could raise you up.
I like it as a young man, even into the last few years. I was all about the game. I just, give me football. But over the past few years, I really started digging in some of this off-season work with the combine, the draft, all the fun things that come along with it, Mike. And I got to say that it makes the game 100 times better for me. Because now not only you're watching it, you know about everything, and you know about all the players, you know their abilities, and you know where they came from, and you know what so I love it, Mike. I love it. We got the combine starting this week. Of course, Omar Khan did talk this morning on Podium 2 over on the NFL Network.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have our correspondent, Mr. Derpy, over on the chat board today. He is our intern in a sense, and he will be popping in here and there, either on the board or maybe even on the show shortly, depending on what he can do on his end.
Yeah.
So we will keep referring to him every once in a while, or we will, like I said, we'll see him. Otherwise, Mike, let's continue on.
Yeah.
We're going to stick on football here for a while. The Steelers,
I'll send that again there, bud.
What's that?
I was talking to Dirk. I tried to send the invite. It didn't go through, so I'm going to send one through again.
My God, what the hell is your thing? Looks like you're in hell.
My light died.
Um,
Don't worry about it.
Steelers signed Jameer Jones to a 1-year deal. So I mean, they're getting the little guys knocked out and the small contracts out of the way. So we're eventually going to, we're going to start seeing that as time goes on. Also, I posted a graphic on our social media the other day. I wanted your intake on it real quick before we move forward. And you may have seen it. I don't know. I don't know what you see. This was the highest graded offensive players for the 2022 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike.
Yeah, I saw this.
Now I know what you're going to say, and I don't really even want to get into it with you today. I want to get into it with you regarding the bottom part of this list. So let me start. It has the top rated offensive player being Mr. Kenny Pickett at 75.5, tied with Pat Fryermuth at 75.5. Number 3, Najee Harris at 73.8. Deontay Johnson, of course, 69.6. And above, George Pickens, who comes in at number 5 at 68.8. Mike, don't get me wrong. I get somehow Deontay Johnson got a lot of receiving yards somehow.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Pickens had multiple, four touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. How does he land higher than George Pickens? And I'm talking about Deontay Johnson. And again, this is the PFF, and you can really go on and on, and we could debate it all day long. But for somebody looking at this graphic, Mike, how could one justify seeing Deontay Johnson's name above George Pickens' name on this list?
Like, I'm trying to think. Yeah, he had more catches, but so Johnson had 86 receptions. Pickens had 52.
All right.
Targets 147 to 84.
In favor of Deontay?
In favor of Deontay.
Okay.
Yardage 882 to 801. So that's Pickens has averaged about 15 and a half yards a catch. Johnson just over 10 yards a catch. 4 touchdowns to 0. Johnson also had 1 fumble. Yeah, he finished with like averaging 4 more yards a game. And he had some more yaks. He had 235 yards of yak. Pickens 104, but you got to think a lot of Pickens plays were like the big plays.
Yeah.
And speaking of big plays, according to ESPN, Johnson had 7, Pickens had 17. So,
and the most, contested catches against everybody in his rookie class.
He led the team in touchdown receivings. So I don't see it. I don't. Yeah, Johnson is the better route runner, but no, on overall game film in and out, Pickens was the better player this year.
I would agree. And like I said, I don't know what over PFF if they're hanging out with Mike Tyson every month or, a little of the cocaine bear, but it doesn't really make much sense. And again, I don't want to get into the top few players with you, but I could agree with you on those as well. One might say that Kenny Pickett wouldn't have been the highest rated person on this offense. And you know what? I would agree on that. I would certainly agree on that. And I like to go to these people in this particular entity for some things, but you know what? There's some things that just leave me scratching my head.
I'm gonna say, like, on offense, it's kind of easier to grade players than on defense.
Yeah,
because you can kind of tell, okay, at least on the line, who messed up on the blocking scheme, who was responsible for who. But once you get into like the quarterbacks and wide receivers, it's kind of hard to grade it. Okay, who ran the wrong route? Who didn't, see it? Was there an audible? So it gets kind of murky right there. Running backs, it's, you see the hole, you hit the hole.
Right.
That's not hard to grade. But once it comes into like your receivers and quarterbacks and defensive backs, it's kind of hard for me to take. I take those gradings with a huge grain of salt because we don't know whose responsibility was who. But you look at any line play, that's kind of easy to grade. Linebackers, kind of easy. You can tell who's blitzing, who's not, who's supposed to be in coverage. Same thing with like running backs. It's kind of easy to figure out. But with like receivers, I don't know what they're looking at to grade DJ over Pickens. I don't see it. I thought George was the better player. Statistic wise, right now, I think Deontay's the more polished player, but he's been in the league 4 years now, so he better be.
Yeah.
But I don't know that when I saw that I scratched my head on it, and I also scratched my head on the top. I think those 5 were the best 5 offensive players again.
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
Go ahead and take care of Derp for a second. I'm not sure what's going on in his end. I'll continue on.
Yeah.
Wow. Excuse me. While we're talking about the Steelers, I did come across this also, Mike. There was a little bit of an interesting set of numbers. Le'Veon Bell. You want to talk about all right, let me give you the numbers. Le'Veon Bell played 96 games in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He ran for 6,554 yards. He received 3,289 yards, 51 total touchdowns, and he's only 31 years old right now. Not playing in the NFL, of course, Le'Veon Bell. But Mike, at 31 years, and he's been out of the league for a few years already.
Yeah.
Look at those mammoth numbers. Mammoth. I mean, these are Hall of Fame numbers if he continues his career.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of the other players do. Let me do it one more time. He played 96 games, over 6,500 yards, over 3,200 yards receiving, and 51 touchdowns.
That is insane.
Can you imagine if he would have stayed a Steeler and stayed productive and there would have been no issues? And, if he would have just been able to have a career here, for example, say like Jerome Bettis did, I think Le'Veon Bell could be at the end of the day one of the better running backs of all time. I'm talking Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Jim Brown. I with these numbers, Mike, that's you can't dispute it.
No, he's one of the best of all time, and I have no idea why. It just sucks the way he ended here.
What a great problem we had with him and Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably the best receiver of all time if Antonio would have kept his head on straight.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Possibly the best running back of all time if Le'Veon would have worked out. What a good problem we had. And the fact that we couldn't get a playoff win, and that's what really hurt.
Yeah, that's what's killer right there.
I'd like to go back to those days, Mike.
Me too, because those teams were fun to watch, fun to play. They were just great.
I got some wide receiver comparisons, but I'm going to hold off on that. I'm not sure if we're going to get Derp in or not, but if we do, I'd like to go over these with you guys. But in the meantime, while you are doing that, I'm gonna bleed over into the Pirates just because I only have a few things about the Pirates to talk about today, and I could do that while you were doing what you're doing.
All right. Well, I'm trying to figure this
Pittsburgh
out.
Pirates are 0-2. 0-2 to start the spring training. Doesn't mean a whole bunch, but you know what? We're not really surprised here in Pittsburgh. Pirates lose yesterday, their second spring training game, Mike, to the Philadelphia Phillies. They lost 9-7. They play the Orioles today, 105. One interesting thing I did see about this from spring training so far is Mike LaValliere threw out the first pitch. You remember Spanky? Spanky threw out the first pitch for the first spring training game. Man, if Spanky looked the way he does now, when Sid Bream was coming around third base and Barry tried to throw him out in the very last game that the Pirates were ever good, Spanky would have stopped him like a brick wall, Mike. I don't know if you've seen, go to our sites. Go to our social media. I did put a picture up yesterday. Spanky is definitely Spanky. He never unspankied. You know what I mean?
He never unspanky.
He never unspanky. Believe me. I want you to take a look when you get a chance because he's more spanky now than he was spanky then.
I didn't go over to the side. I was already in Google, so I just typed his name in real quick, and I see him like he's sitting there cooking crepes.
Okay.
My man looks like a battle. He looks jacked. He looks in better shape now, like body wise.
He looks like he can give Cam Hayward a run for his money in a sumo match.
I ain't fucking around or messing around with Spanky
LaValliere. There you have it. He was
always one of my favorite Pirates, just because Spanky.
Because he was on that team.
He was on that team.
Anytime you talk about that, you go through the names. You're like Barry, Bobby,
Chico Lind.
Chico,
Jose
Andy Van
Chico
Slyke.
Lynn. Talk about a nickname that might not go
Yeah.
over well today. Jose Chico Lynn.
Yeah,
And
I love Chico.
Chico, man. He was great. How could you not like Chico Lynn?
Speaking of second baseman, Mike, Josh Harrison. Talking about bringing the band back together. We are going 2013 here in 2023. Josh Harrison, Mike said he's been receiving plenty of texts and tweets ever since Andrew McCutchen resigned, came back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Harrison says, quote, "You never know. I don't rule anything out." I would like to see, Mike, I would like to see Josh Harrison back in the Pittsburgh Pirate uniform, whether it be for another another PR move or whatnot. I mean, what are you really trying to do with Pittsburgh? But I wouldn't be too upset. I would not be upset to see Josh Harrison. I call him James. Yeah, Josh Harrison back in a Pittsburgh Pirate uniform. Good morning, Derpy. Are you with us? Big Dirt Dog.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
How are you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We started with some NFL, and I'm gonna come back into the NFL because Derpy is our correspondent that gets us and relays us some good NFL scoop. I know that he's keeping his eye on the combine, getting ready to start. I know he keeps his eye on free agency, and he's become an asset to us here at the two Dum Yinzers. We were talking a little bit earlier, Derp. What are some of these? Give me some of these big names that you were sending at me this morning that are starting to become available in the NFL.
From free agency or draft?
Let's start with the free agents.
Okay. Now, do you fellas want Deontay back, or are you a fan of Deontay?
I'm a fan of Deontay being in 31 other cities. That is where I am with Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
But Mike might be
if he stays, I'm willing to bite the bullet for another year. But if he goes, I wouldn't be sad.
I was thinking Atlanta.
Yeah.
Ooh, they need help. They need a lot of help.
That's actually just brought because I just saw this on NFL Network. They need an edge and a receiver.
Yeah, that team needs a lot of help too. And like they just got rid of Mariota, so they're gonna have to build around Desmond Riddler and have one of the better route runners in the league. And Deontay Johnson would be a huge addition to them if we can swing a trade.
Now, you just mentioned Marus Mariota, and earlier this morning, Dirt sent over a note that Mariota he's not with the Atlanta Falcons anymore, correct?
Yes, they just released him this morning.
Now, where are some legit possibilities you could see Marcus Mariota landing? I mean, the guy he came out of college with the sky's the limit. Obviously, he didn't live up to that potential. I mean, do you see Mariota going anywhere and becoming a starter, Dirk? Do you see him going somewhere and being a backup? Do we even know what Mariota wants to do? What's your take on him, bud?
I think at this point, how many years is Mariota in the league so far?
I have his stuff up right here. He's 8 years in.
8 years.
Yeah, he's a backup. He's a backup. Best he's gonna get is a backup at this point.
Yeah, he didn't put up like bad numbers last year. Like they weren't great. 15 touchdowns, 9 picks.
You recall early in the season, they were talking high about this Atlanta team. I mean, they didn't stay. They started off okay, and they were saying, the way Mariota's got this season started and has run the ship down here, Atlanta might have a nice team, and then they fell off like everybody expected them to. But you're pretty much saying that Mariota, he's a number 2 guy at least for the rest of his career.
More than likely, yeah. At this point,
I would agree.
I do think there's a couple of teams that might take a look at him for backup position, us including the Steelers.
Yeah,
because that's a great option for us. He's still somewhat young. He's middle of his career, basically.
Yeah,
but he has that experience as well. I just prefer Brissett though because he's a little bit older.
Mike, who do you prefer? Like, say you were sitting down in the office in Pittsburgh and they're pushing papers across to you. Would you prefer Jacoby Brissett being your backup, or would you prefer, and obviously this is speculation because we have other quarterback situations going on, or Marcus Mariota? Mike, at the end of the day, who do you sign if those are your 2 options?
If it was my 2 options, I want to go with Brissett. He had better numbers, and we saw him operate in that Cleveland offense, and he ran it pretty well. And, if we need him to play for a few games here or there, if Kenny gets hurt or, Kenny hits a rough spot, and you bring Brissett in, he can run that all. He can run the Steelers offense. He can hand it off to, I trust him to hand it off to Najee and hit those nice little dump down passes that we like to do. I think he would be a good fit in our system. He plays well within himself. He knows not to take those chances. Whereas, Mitch, he's not afraid to take chances. And I think the Steeler team, we need a quarterback who's not going to try and take those unnecessary chances. And I think that's, we see that with Kenny, and I think we would see that with Brissett too. Play within themselves, not try and do too much.
Now,
I
that
think
being said,
Steelers might be able to get Brissett cheaper than Mariota.
now that being said, do you feel that either Marus Mariota or Jacoby Brissett would be an upgrade over a Mitch Trubisky?
Yes,
I do too. Mike,
as much as I love the guy, but he
Yeah.
is not, I love Mitch Trubisky for his family's all nice. He's a nice guy, but he's not QB2. He is not QB2.
No, you know what?
Or even one.
I was upset with him, and the reason why I was upset with him is because he was drafted pretty high. He came out of college with all these expectations. He went to Chicago, and two things happen when you go to Chicago. If you're a quarterback, your career gets destroyed,
just like the Browns.
Yes, absolutely. Or you could kind of build a team around this player and what they're trying to do with Justin Fields right now, and just get enough momentum going to go somewhere else and be a decent quarterback. Now, my problem with Trubisky was he wasn't able to do that. And don't get me wrong, he led the Bears to the playoffs. I mean, who does that?
Exactly.
But once he left Chicago and was backing up Allen up in Buffalo, I thought we were going to get a better quarterback that showing up here in Pittsburgh when he showed up. And he just, I don't know if he lost his confidence, but the guy that got drafted took the Bears to the playoffs. That's the guy I wanted. That was the guy I expected. And that's the guy I think most of Pittsburgh expected when they got word that we were bringing Mitch Trubisky in. That wasn't the guy that showed up. I was expecting a little bit more. You're competing with a rookie who's never played a down in the NFL. I think that Mitch Trubisky should have played head and shoulders better than Kenny Pickett.
No, is his contract, like, can he opt out of that, or the 2-year one?
No, for Trubisky, no.
Steelers,
okay. They're gonna have to cut him, and they would save.
Honestly, I don't want to. I'd rather keep him as a third string because he's not that. He's not obviously QB1 or QB2, but do you know any other guys that can fill in?
But you're going to pay him right now because I'm looking at his contract. It's a $10 million hit. You're not going to pay your third string that. And to cut him, hold on, let me see here. I think the Steelers saved like $8 million by cutting him.
Yeah, they gotta cut Rudolph and him. Then.
Yeah, but he'll end up having like a dead cap hit of I think like $2 million. So you cut him, he's going to cost you $10 million this year. You cut him. Yeah, he's going to count 2.5 against the cap, and then you sign someone for 6, so you're $8 million. So it's a $2 million difference between the quarterbacks. So, for me, I think it would be better to keep him, even though you're technically going to save money, but it's not going to be that much, like a $2 million swing. And I'd rather have him and Pickett here. They seem to have a good working relationship. And that's what I like to see between my 1 and my number 2, a good working relationship where, Mitch will always, he gives him the advice he needs. They've talked about that, how, they're not afraid to bounce ideas off of them and not game plans, but, go over film and stuff. So I kind of like their relationship. And I think that'd be good for Kenny's development is to have Mitch here, as long as Mitch still wants to be here. And by him working out with the team in the offseason, it's looking like he does want to be here.
Speaks volumes.
If you can have those two together, I would be okay with that.
It speaks volumes. Like they are down in Florida right now, South Florida. They are, all the him, Trubisky, and all the receivers are participating in these, voluntary offseason work. You got to love that. You got to love the drive. These guys want to win, Mike. I'm pretty certain this team wants to win some serious football games this year. They're putting in the work. Hopefully they can do that. Now, Mike, the other question is about this, and Derp, my question is, Mitch Trubisky, or not Mitch Trubisky, I'm sorry, Mason Rudolph comes out last week and says, you know what, I'm not so quick to leave Pittsburgh now if you would deal Mitch or send Mitch somewhere else. What would you think,
what's
Mike?
His contract looking like? Is he still in the rookie?
On Mason?
No, Mason's done. He's a free agent.
Okay, I don't want him. I don't want.
Everybody wants Mitch or Mason. Mike, what about you, Mason? Behind, let me put it to you this way: Kenny in a Jacoby Brissett situation, 1-2. Do you keep Mason as well for a 3?
No, for my.
I'd rather take a rookie than Mason.
Yeah.
Me too. Like I think Mason, like he needs to get out of Pittsburgh and go somewhere else. So I think he can be a good number 2 somewhere else. Just get out of
He's
Pittsburgh.
Not going to get his opportunities. He's not going to get a fair.
Yeah, just get him out of Pittsburgh and let him go somewhere, start fresh.
Somewhere that's not.
I don't think he's not going to be a number 1, but I could see him having a Charlie Batch type career where he comes in, plays a handful of games here or there. That's all.
The Giants or the Jets could take a chance on him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he might be able to compete for a starting job, depending on what happens with Daniel Jones and like the whole Jets situation.
The Jets, I didn't know what you had one.
That goes back to Mariota too. Mariota could be a guy that they could take a look at for the Jets.
Absolutely. Yeah. I tell you what, those New York teams, they're a player or 2 away from being a decent squad. You know what I mean? Because you see the Giants sneak into the playoffs this year. I believe they even got a win in the playoffs. And then the Jets, they started out strong first 8 games, and after that they hit this wall. But they're starting to piece these teams together up there in New York. And I expect maybe after this draft, you might see one of these 2 teams make a little bit better of a run next season up in New York.
I did see the Giants release Galladay though, so
I was about to say they're
probably going to go receiver 1.
Yeah, and I forget. Yeah,
in the draft.
First pick because they pick what 24,
25 around there.
Yeah, they're in that area, and you can still get a good receiver there, and they're they might the receiver from Ohio State.
Yep,
that's
what I was thinking.
Yeah, he might fall down. Yeah, JSN, he might fall down.
So your mic went out. Okay, there.
Your mic went out there for a second.
Okay, yeah, I got excited and flicked wires. But no, I think they might go receiver there, because I don't see them signing Daniel Jones to that big contract, and you can get a quarterback on the market like Mariota, and if you re-sign Saquon, have a good running game, pick up a receiver. He might be serviceable enough in that offense, but I don't know. And what quarterback's going to be there at 25, 24? Because I don't see one of the top ones going, because the way they're getting in.
Did you fellas see the? Sorry, did you fellas see the Senior Bowl? You saw the Senior Bowl, right?
I
did not. No.
All right, so I watched a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Receivers were good. Corners were good. There were some linebackers that stand out, but there's one particular player that stand out to me. It was actually a quarterback. I don't know if you heard about the Fresno State kid.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of him, Mike?
A little bit, yeah.
That's a guy I don't know where he's projected, but if he's there, I'm willing to take a chance on him, regardless if we have a QB1 already.
Yeah. Because hold on, let me.
He performed
and
pretty
same
well.
for the Giants. Same for the Giants.
Okay. That makes me ask you real quick. We are talking a little bit about these New York teams. Where are you at with Daniel Jones, Derp?
He's the guy. They just don't have any weapons.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
You think he's good enough once he gets some weapons to make a deep run into the playoffs?
Yeah. From where they were out last year and how they competed. Yeah.
You can't deny they're producing results, and that's a tough division. You're playing Philadelphia twice a season, got Dallas a couple times a year, and then even
Philly's old though, so their defense is really old. They're gonna have to cut a lot of guys this offseason.
They're gonna lose a lot of players in free agency. I was looking over at NFL Network. Greg Rosenthal released his top 101 free agents. It was littered with Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles everywhere, DBs, D-line, and just everywhere. That team's going to have to rebuild quick.
Real quick, let me cut in, guys. I do want to welcome P. Morton on the board as well. Good morning, P. Yes, back to Philadelphia. You're right. They have a lot of they got a lot of work to do this offseason. What do you think, Mike, is Philadelphia's what could the Philadelphia fans expect from this Eagles team next season?
If they do everything right in free agency, because they're going to lose a lot of key players. They're definitely losing Hargraves. They're going to lose a corner. They might lose the safety.
A lot of their defense is old though, so I mean,
yeah, they have players to come back. They might lose their top 2 inside linebackers.
Yeah,
because they're going to be well sought after in free agency. TJ Edwards, Kazir White, the CJ Gardner Johnson. He's the strong safety. Javon Hargraves is up. Who's it? Was Bradbury? Yeah, James Bradbury's up for free agency. So they have some work to do, but I think the way this team has drafted and developed recently, I think they're going to be right back in the.
I think Bradbury's career plays out from this point out.
They'll be a Super Bowl team.
Oh yeah, they're
contender again. They will be.
What do you see? How do you see Bradbury's career going after the way that the Super Bowl ended? And it's kind of a weird question because you see things like this happen. It may be a mental thing or something. I mean, you literally made the hold that costed your team the Super Bowl after everything that you went through last season. Do you think he lands on his feet?
I do. He's been in the league for a while now. He's 29 years old.
Yeah,
this guy, he's been.
We're talking about the cord, right? The defensive cord.
Yes.
Like Bradbury, I think he'll bounce back from this. Yeah, he's been in the league since 2016. 7 years now? I think he's.
So whoever decides to take go ahead and sign this guy on their squad and puts them at corner, you think they're going to be okay? There's not going to be any issues, any psychological. You think you're good to take Bradbury?
I'm good with them. I wouldn't mind having him here.
Okay.
That's
about you, Dirk.
I wouldn't mind, but I like where the defense is at right now.
Absolutely,
more than the offense.
There's a few things we've got to touch on in the draft. But I agree. I got a couple comparisons I want you guys to touch on.
Okay.
I read this, and you guys might have seen it as well. These are some comparisons from guys coming out of college up into the draft this year. And these comparisons are with names of people who are established receivers in the NFL. And I want to see if you feel that these comparisons are accurate. First one, Quentin Johnson out of TCU. A lot of people are comparing him to AJ Green. AJ Green. You get an AJ Green when you draft Quentin Johnson?
He's fast. Yep. Tall and fast.
He might be the best receiver in the draft. At least that's where he's rated right now.
Yeah. How about, of course, out of USC, I'm very familiar with this young man, Jordan Addison. His comparison was Marvin Harrison.
Ooh.
I don't know about that, but
yeah,
that's interesting though.
Yeah,
but I don't. Yeah. That's not even a comparison though.
And the kid's he's a hell of a receiver. Right? What I found was Harrison's strong point was this: he was extremely consistent. Yeah. Harrison was extremely consistent, and I guess when you have a guy like Peyton Manning running your offense, it's easy to be consistent. But the guy made very little mistakes. He didn't drop many balls. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the biggest, the strongest, or any of those receivers. But you know what? He was extremely consistent. If you needed a pair of short hands in a lot of games, which they did, he was the guy. With that being said, do you feel that Jordan could, possibly be compared to Marvin Harrison? And then again, before you compare anybody to Marvin Harrison, I think you have to wait till the end of their career.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Or have a couple years into the league, you'll know how good he is. But to be a Marvin Harrison, you have to be one of the best route runners.
Absolutely
crisp and clean.
Number 3, out of Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt.
I've been hearing a lot about him.
Amazing season. They're comparing him to Devontae Smith from the Eagles. Devontae Smith and Jalen Hyatt.
Ooh.
I could see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that, yeah.
And finally, out of SMU, Rashee Rice is being compared to Zay Jones. Zay Jones, the receiver for Jacksonville. Rashee Rice, Zay Jones.
Yeah, kind of. He's a bigger receiver too. I forgot how big he was. 6'3".
What about the guy from Mississippi? Did they anything about is it
from Ole Miss?
Yeah, Ole Miss.
Who is
What's
it?
His name? Is it Ringo Mingo or
is that what it? Yeah,
I can't. Jonathan Ming. I don't. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Jonathan Mingo. Yeah.
Mingo.
Yeah. What did they say about him? Because he did very well in the Senior Bowl.
Okay. Not too sure.
He's another big receiver.
I can't wait to see a lot of these receivers this year, man.
This draft class, it's going to be a deep class at receiver. It's like deep everywhere.
Yeah.
My sleeper pick for receivers is the receiver out of Idaho, Hayden Hatton.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Out of Idaho, yeah. There's someone that I follow on TikTok. He breaks down a lot of footage of smaller school players you don't hear about.
Yeah.
And he was ranting and raving about this guy. Now, what's some footage of him? And you know what? Look out. I don't think he's not going to be taken in a high part of the draft. It's going to be someone like later in the draft process that he will be taken, and he might be the sleeper pick.
Mine is probably the guy from Oklahoma, Marvin Mims, I believe. Is that what his name?
Mims. Yeah, I think it is Marvin Mims. Yeah.
He's my sleeper.
Yep, Marvin Mims.
We are closing in on the last quarter of the show. I'm gonna take a little jump, guys. Bear with me. Stick with us, Derp. You're always your input is always welcome. You know that. Just bear with me. Chime in when you'd like. We have to touch on a couple things real quick. Piit Panthers, Mike. The Piit Panthers are number 25. The Piit Panthers finally cracked the top 25 poll. 2 games left in the season. I feel that it's a slap in the face. I feel that they should have, if you're going to give them 25, you might as well not have even ranked this team. Let them have their back against the wall. Yep. Let them be Pitt against the world. You know what? I think they're still going to do that. Watch for this team, especially you get this number 1 seed. Say you beat Notre Dame, then you beat Miami. You get the double bye in the ACC tournament. Watch out, Mike. Watch out for this team. I think they're going to make a pretty nice run when it comes time to the March Madness tournament. Number 25, Mike. They are
that might be the that's still kind of to them. They can see that as disrespectful. It's like, oh, you're gonna finally rank us, but you're gonna give us the lowest ranking.
Yeah,
even though some of the teams like we've beaten ranked teams.
Who'd you beat the last 3 games?
They beat.
And where were you at before? 25, right?
No, they were.
This is the first. I tell you what,
this is the first week you're in 20. The top 25.
Yeah. This is the first time we've been ranked, Derpy, since 2016. Yesterday was the first time we've been in the top 25 since 2016.
Which is insane for they've been playing lights out this year.
When does what
they just killed Syracuse 99. Right? They just killed Syracuse 99-82 on Saturday. Yeah. What was your question?
What conference are they in again for
ACC?
Basketball? ACC, okay. ACC is a tough.
Absolutely. Here's my issue with this. This is a garbage ranking system because here's the deal. If Duke or North Carolina was doing
Where's
really
North
good,
Carolina right now? Are they ranked or no?
They're in the middle of the pack. And you know what? We beat them twice.
And they'll still find a way to make it. That's what's funny.
That's the thing. If Duke and North Carolina is having a good season, all of a sudden ACC is a strong conference. They're having an okay season. They're in the middle of the pack. They're still going to get in. But being that you got Virginia, Miami, and Pitt at the top, all of a sudden it's not a strong conference. I think the system's a little skewed. And like I said,
when's your tourney begin? When's the ACC tourney begin?
Well, we do have a game on tomorrow night against Notre Dame on the road. Excuse me. And then we go down to Miami to finish it up on Saturday. So it won't be long after that.
Do you think you have a shot at the,
I do. Because here's the thing. Say we finish out with the 1 seed in the ACC, which is a very possible situation. We get the double bye. Those 2 games that you don't have to play.
Yeah.
And then you play the 3rd game. And I don't remember if I think the next game is already the ACC championship. So, we play our cards right. Don't screw up against Notre Dame tomorrow and go down and have a big showing against Miami. I think we're just as in this as anybody else.
I like how Virginia and Miami are ranked above Pitt.
And Virginia and Miami are both ranked, and they've been all season, and we've beat Virginia. We've beat Miami. We sat atop the ACC multiple times alone this season. And just yesterday, they finally decided to put us into the 25.
Yeah, it's like I've been saying all season that this Pitt team, no one thought they were going to do anything. People were looking at them as like a fluke. So next year, that's when you're going to see them get the rankings that they deserve.
It's the first 20-win season since 16. It's the first top 25 appearance in 16. It's the first winning season since 2016. So maybe those things play into it. However, when you're looking at the performance of this particular team that's in front of you, you're trying to rank it, how you could look back at a team in 2017 to help make that decision for you is crazy. They were one of the two best teams in this conference all year. The system's crazy. And the way that this net rankings, you could move up if you lose to a good team.
Yeah.
Come on. If you play, let's say, for example, you're playing Purdue and you lose, you can move up. It's it's ridiculous. It's garbage.
Does Pitt have a big man, like a dominant big man?
That's their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Mike and I have been talking about this for about a week now. This would be the Achilles heel of this team, is they don't have that guy. They have a couple guys that play the big man position, but they're not really the big man. And I think once you get deep into the big tournament, that is what's going to hurt Pitt.
Yeah, Sweet 16 is probably your best bet.
That's somewhere around. Thinking I would be fine with that. Like I said, this team hasn't done much since 2016. I would be fine with a Sweet 16. Absolutely. Yeah. Let me give you this real quick note, guys. If you are following Pitt or you're a Pitt fan, Pitt is the only nationally ranked school in all of these sports. The latest rankings on them: the volleyball team is 4, men's soccer 8, women's soccer 12, wrestling 15, football 22, basketball 25. Pitt is the only team where all those teams are ranked. So that's a pretty you feel Pitt's on the rise.
They are. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm a Penn State fan, so we're not going to talk about Penn State basketball.
Also, let's skate over to the ice, Mike. Of course, the Penguins got a big game tonight.
Yes, huge.
They're 2-0 since the fans gave the Penguins an earful last week when they were playing the Oilers at home. The fans, of course, were chanting "Fire Hextall," which I've been chanting all along.
Yes,
but the fans gave.
What was that final again for that Edmonton game?
I think that was 7-3, Edmonton.
I said 4-3.
You were close. You were close for a minute.
And I think Mike actually hit it right on the head. If I'm remembering right, I think you hit it right on the head.
I said we'll probably watch us lose 7-2, and I think that was the final.
You said 7-2 or 7-3. I'd be willing to go back and look it up.
Yeah. I may have given us a little bit more credit.
But they're 2-0 since the incident. They traveled to Nashville tonight to play a team that's pretty equal to we are as far as their record. Mm-hmm. We come in at 29-21-9. Nashville comes in at 29-22-6. Do you think, Mike, that the Penguins go to 3-0 since the Fire Hextall incident?
I think they do. I think Crosby, Malcolm, Letang, they're gonna build this team to a little bit of a winning streak.
I'd like to see it. I would like to see it, because you go back on Thursday now after tonight and you travel down to Tampa Bay and run that one back. We just beat Tampa Bay yesterday, I think 7-3 on our advantage. So we're gonna go down to Tampa. You're gonna get a different team, in Tampa. But you got to win this Nashville game first. You win this Nashville game, then you can start seriously thinking. Because I mean, Mike, they were like we said, they were free falling. Mm-hmm. They were free falling fast. But you win
who's in our standings right now? Who's leading the division?
Ooh.
Or
the leader is Mike.
The leader
is it the Rangers or the Capitals?
No, it's the Capitals aren't doing too well this year. It's
the
Hurricanes, Devils, Rangers, Islanders, then Pens, Caps, Flyers, Jackets, and the Penguins are still holding on to the second wild card spot.
So they do have that. So I mean, you win a couple games. We're not so far out of it where we're done. But you know what? These games are each one of them are very, very, very important games.
Yeah, we're not going to win the Metro, but
that's what I'm saying. Who's in, regardless, who's in front of us though?
Oh, it's Carolina, the Devils, the Rangers, the Islanders, and then the Penguins are all ahead of those teams are all ahead of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They redid all the divisions, and it's just like Atlantic and Metro. Yeah. And right now
because of the expansion, right? Because of the expansion, right?
Yeah, expansion and some other.
I always like the Detroit Red Wings in the West. I don't know. That's just me. And I know Detroit's pretty east, but it seems so weird having Detroit in the Eastern Conference.
They had to do that, because we brought in the Golden Knights.
Yeah, you're right.
Brought in Seattle,
Vegas,
the Kraken,
Seattle.
Yeah.
actual Western teams.
Yeah.
One quick thing, Mike, on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Here's a couple names linked to the Penguins that I just dug up this morning. Now, these are local guys, Mike. 2 local guys are actually being linked to the Penguins. Of course, John Gibson out in Anaheim.
Yes.
That is a name. The goalie, of course, is being linked because of the subpar play of Casey DeSmith. And the other name, Mike, is Sam Lafferty. I think he is.
He used to play for the Penguins, but he was.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just traded. He was literally involved in a trade.
And the name kept up because of depth, the depth situation, getting maybe that last or third, fourth line center, a little more depth there. So these 2 guys, Mike, are both pretty local. Sam Lafferty's more over towards the Altoona area. But what do you think? We're trying to put something together to make a nice run. Do either one of these guys fit into possibly helping this team moving forward?
I don't see Lafferty coming back. I don't think they're gonna make a trade for him. Okay. Like I said, he was just involved in a trade. He was one of the second pieces into a trade. So I think he's gonna be out the market. Johnny Gibson was the other one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking him to be the backup. Find a way to move to Smith, but like his contract, like the Penguins are gonna have to move salary around and stuff. But I want this team to be a seller at the deadline.
Okay.
Or stand pat or sell. I don't want to see players brought in. I just don't think this team is ready to make a run this year. So
they're too old.
Yeah. The supporting cast is too old. The big 3, man, they're still going strong, but I don't know. They are. I mean, they're going to have to add to this team, but they need to add players who are younger that are going to be there next year and the year after to help support this cast. They're going to have to be trading someone like a Brian Rust, a Dumoulin.
They need speed.
They need a lot of speed because this team is not fast anymore. So that's like Rust's going to have to go. Gensel might have to go if we want to get a good return. It sucks. Him and Crosby have great chemistry, but you're going to have to. Gensel might be the one who has to go. He might give you the most return.
Right.
So that's what you have to do. When
you're just going to watch him do great things throughout his career, and that's going to be the hardest part.
Yeah,
because we're going to trade him off to get, like you said, enough pieces back. You're still like Alexei Kovalev, any of these guys, they're going to go somewhere and they're going to be amazing hockey players no matter what.
We got he was a key part of some Stanley Cups. We got cups out of him. It's not like trading Marcus Naslund back in the day, so it's not going to be that kind of effect. So I wouldn't mind. I don't want to see him go, but he's going to be the one who can give us the most bang for our buck. Him, Rust, maybe Dumoulin's starting to play better. You might have to trade him. Shed that salary. This is what's going to happen. They're going to have to get rid of some aging players who aren't the big 3, who have bigger contracts. And, like in a case of like Gensel, he's producing, but you might have to get rid of him to get other pieces to help the overall team. This is Mike, the 2-minute warning of the day. 2-minute warning. Why don't you go tell everybody about the website? 2dumyinzers.com. So the number 2 DUMYINZRS. You head over there. We have links to everything: Spotify, YouTube, Anchor. Matter of fact, when you get into 2 Dum Yinzers, first thing you see is today's most recent video. So boom, you're up to date. We have links to the merchandise store. We have links to Facebooks, Twitters, Instagrams, emails, everything you need at 2dumyinzers.com. There you go. Check it out, everybody. www.2dumyinzers.com. Also, we are live every day right here from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the shows that we do that particular day. For example, this show will be uploaded later on this evening at 8 o'clock. So every show that we do goes up on the Spotify and podcast form at 8 o'clock in the evening. Don't forget to check them out. Mike, and Derp, you guys got time? We got time for a quick trivia? Combine trivia. We're going to stick with the combine trivia today. Let's do it. All right, here we go, guys. Derp, are you ready?
Let's get it.
Let's get it. Here we go. Yesterday, the question was, what was the first year that the combine was? Mike said 1980. It was 82. Very close. So this is going to kind of come off of that question. So I want to kind of catch everybody up and get everybody on the same page. P, play along on the chat, please. Here we go. What was the first year they started doing the combine in Indianapolis? What was the first year they started doing the combine in Indianapolis? I'm going to give you a hint. When in 82, it was in Tampa Bay. What year was it first being done in Indianapolis? Make it interesting. Don't look it up. Try to guess.
All
right.
Go
ahead, Mike.
I'm gonna go with 88.
1988. Really close. Derpy.
1990.
1990. I'm going to give P just a moment here on the board. We're looking for the year that the Combine was first held in Indianapolis. Mike says 88. Derpy says 90. And P says 85. I tell you what, you guys are all close. However, we were all incorrect. The answer was 1987.
That's
1987.
Was that the year previous before? That was Brady's, right? Before Brady's year, right? 98.
This was 87.
87.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said 90, 98 or 97. That's right.
But the answer was,
but you said 87.
Indianapolis. It's been in Indianapolis for quite some time, obviously. So 87 is the answer on that.
That is insane.
I tell you what, you all did better than I would have. If I wouldn't have had the answer in front of my face, I would have not done as well as you guys. So I just want to say that. But Mike, do you have anything before we take off for today, sir?
No, I just want to thank Derpy for coming on, man. We appreciate it. Like, Absolutely. It's nice to have.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a different.
I appreciate you letting me
coming on,
appear.
talking sports, talking. God, because you've had a chance to get a deeper dive into the draft process than I have recently. So it's nice to different voice, different perspective. I love it.
Absolutely. I want to thank Derpy as well. We'll be seeing more Derpy. We do communicate regularly with him. Also, P, we do want to thank you for hitting us in the chat board today, as always, my man. And everybody,